Lord forgive us, we're covering Liz Cheney again. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy moving quick to lock in a replacement for Liz Cheney. According to Politico, his allies have their eyes set on GOP Congresswoman Liz Stefanik to take over her leadership role.
Okay, Democratic strategist Andrew Feldman, culture editor at the Federalist Emily Jasinski, they join us now to discuss. Liz Cheney officially wins the Rising Award. We have talked about her 4 days in a row, which is astounding, really. And forgive us, but have to. That's what the news is. Emily, I'll start with you. What do you think that it's... There's been a lot said about the Liz Cheney thing. Donald Trump comes out yesterday, calls her a warmonger. I'll have a segment on this tomorrow. Yeah, no, not true. But Elise Stefanik has backed bills for 10,000 troops in Afghanistan as recently as 2019. Cool. And so it's almost like this doesn't have a lot to do with policy. What exactly is going on here?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot going on here, and I think the overall explanation has been reductive and overly simplified because I also think Eliana Johnson has a fantastic piece digging into the behind-the-scenes party dynamics about what's going on here. I think it really is a lot more about those internal dynamics. 2 things are true. One, the Republican Party is too intolerant of Liz Cheney's position on the election, right? The election wasn't stolen. The party should have tolerance, at the very least, for people who say that. 2, the second part of this is, I think she actually is not the best person to go out there and raise money for them. She's actually probably not the best person. That's part of the job, right? Like, she's having issues fundraising and messaging and getting along with the party right now. That some of that is totally downstream of what she said about the election. Absolutely no questions about it. But at the same time, I think, those effects are really real. And they're more than just her continuing to hammer away at Trump or the election or whatever it is. So I think that it does go, it cuts a little deeper than that.
Sure.
Yeah, apparently, I think it was the Wall Street Journal reported that McCarthy's feelings were hurt, that she didn't thank him for standing up for her when they had the last caucus. It's just classic. I mean, a lot of these things do come down to basically personality. She's pissed them off, his feelings were hurt, et cetera, et cetera. Andrew, she has a new op-ed in the Washington Post saying in part, the Republican Party is at a turning point, and Republicans must decide whether we're going to choose truth and fidelity to the Constitution. What do you make of all of these dynamics?
I never thought I would be saying this, but amen to Liz Cheney. I mean, really important op-ed in the Washington Post. Because look, Liz Cheney is a conservative. Her father is Dick Cheney. I mean, probably one of before Donald Trump, the biggest evil empire in the Republican Party among Democrats in decades. And I mean, the reality is that the party, and with this feud is showing, because if we were to poll this, most people wouldn't even know about this feud, right? But what it is showing is that they're continuing to roll off the deep end. I mean, they're just falling farther and farther out of touch with mainstream America. And I think that it is going to be a problem for them, because this is all, just continue to bow down to their dictator, Donald Trump. I mean, it's unbelievable.
So, Emily, I would split the difference, which is that, here's how I kind of see it. You're right, which is that at the end of the day, she doesn't actually align with most of the Republican Party on Trump, and she is a member of leadership. It's not like they're kicking her out of Congress. They're just removing her from leadership. So I understand that argument. But a lot of people are like, well, Elise Stefanik aligns with the new GOP. I mean, as far as I know, it used to be said that not being explicitly pro-life was supposed to be something that's disqualifying. You have somebody here who's pretty pro-choice. You have somebody here who tried to force a vote on amnesty, who wants to keep troops in Afghanistan. I mean, I was told in the era of Donald Trump, all of those are explicit no-goes. So taking somebody who was quite, and this is not a joke, quote, Paul Ryan's acolyte, and replacing Liz Cheney with that person does seem to be pretty inconsistent with what I was told about this.
No, it's actually, that's one of the most interesting parts of this dynamic. Club for Growth came out, it is very interesting. And again, if this were just about Trump and just about the election, Cheney would have been gone when they tried to do it 2 months ago. if everyone remembers, this all played out. We had dealt with the same stupid news cycle like 2 months ago. She would have been gone then if that's what this was about. And then what has happened since is that these dynamics have sort of grown in a really harmful way, and that's for her and for her enemies. And so that's what's happening. Kevin McCarthy was on the hot mic saying that he'd had it with her. So it is more than that. And then you have the situation with Liz Stefanik, who is not aligned with the new right whatsoever. But when it comes to Liz Stefanik, you can see how this is more about fundraising and messaging, because in the impeachment trial, that's where the new right, or like the MAGA coalition, the Republican Party, decided they really liked Liz Stefanik, because she absolutely had these like very performative and articulate opposition arguments to the impeachment effort. And after that, I think that she's really been able to like fundraise and message for the party successfully. So I really think that's where this is coming from when it gets to Liz Stefanik. That's what it says about party leadership in Washington, D.C., right? Like, it is superficial. It's being able to raise money. It's being able to say the right things to the right people.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Go ahead, Andrew.
That's why, to me, it is all about one man, Donald Trump, because you mentioned things, Emily, messaging and fundraising, but that still connects back to Donald Trump. If you don't hit those points, points that Donald Trump has been hammering home, you don't get those base voters. You don't get the folks that, came up during the impeachment trial and bubbled up around Stefanik. So that's why I think she's here. It is about Donald Trump, who supports the leader of the GOP, and it doesn't matter about anything else right now.
I don't think anyone disagrees with you on that point, Andrew. Great to see you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks.
More Rising for you after this.